guess I'll start. It's been 5 minutes. I normally like to give everyone like 5-10 minutes to come in, but I guess it's 5 minutes today because it's just me speaking. I will, 1 second. So I'm Izzy. For all of you who don't know, I'm Izzy. Hi, I'm the founder of Sick Love Zine, who are hosting these workshops. I do a lot of the work. I do most of the work myself, to be honest. Like in Sick Love, we have a small team, and we also take a lot of outside input, because kind of one of the purposes of our zine and one of the main kind of points of our zine is to like spread the work of young creatives and to kind of platform young creatives and their work, whilst also kind of talking about the issues that affect them at the same time. So we have a lot of work on the site that isn't mine, some of it is, but we have a lot of kind of work from outside input, but I kind of manage everything and started the zine in the first place, and it's kind of my baby. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all for enjoying it. I hope you like it, and if you ever want to message me or email me for whatever reason, as in like tips, if you think there's something we're missing, or you just want to chat, you are very welcome to. I try and reply to all DMs. Sometimes I get a bit behind, but I do try my best to message everyone back who messages me, so feel free to reach out. Okay, so I guess I'll start. 1 sec. Right, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so I hope you can all see my PowerPoint. So yeah, today we're here to talk about audience reception and growth and how to build a community online. As I just said, I think the content is great and content is always the most important, but if you have 5 people to show your content to and 5 people to get your message across to, it's not the most effective. And you need to focus on growing yourself as well, because if you have a social message, or you just want to platform work, or whatever it kind of is that you are trying to do, it's more effective the more people you can show your work to. So content is by far obviously at the top, but growth is definitely up there, as well as reception, because you want to keep people around, you want to make people happy, you want to get people on board with the similar ideas as you. So they both are really, really important to kind of smaller zines and larger zines as well, and they always will be. So that's my lecture for today. So where to start? So kind of everyone has to start somewhere. Every single zine at some point, especially independent publishers, will have just been an Instagram page or whatever kind of platform they're using with 0 followers, and they have to start from somewhere. So I started personally. I am not obviously the be all and end all, I don't run the biggest page in the world, but for me, this is how I started, because I was very aware that I had an idea that I wanted to start. I wanted to be platforming work of my own and other people, but no one was going to come to me to platform their work, and my work wasn't going to be seen unless there was some kind of audience. So I knew I had to start something. I began by doing a mood board. That's how I started Sick Love, for a few months, to help kind of build an aesthetic and an audience. Sick Love obviously has quite a strong aesthetic. Even this PowerPoint has quite a strong aesthetic. I decided this before, and I decided the mood board should definitely go into that aesthetic. So you use pictures that relate to your aesthetic or your ethos, and make sure it's well curated, like make sure it all matches up. You can download apps like Unum. Unum is great. It's a free app where you can like see your Instagram grid and you can plan it all out. Use apps like Unum and kind of make sure you put together a well curated mood board, and make sure you post regularly. I used to post most days, or if not every other day, just one picture with lots of hashtags. I say hashtags. I know, for example, I don't use hashtags in my personal Instagram. I find them kind of cringy, but they are really important, because people will be looking on hashtags for photos that match the hashtag, and through that can find your account. To be honest, that's the only way people are really going to find your account if you've got 0 followers. So use hashtags that relate to the pictures, relate to the zine. For me, I use brilliant, really, great ones like hashtag cute, hashtag pink, you know, as I said, cringy, but they work. And then, you know, people that are looking for this kind of content will find your content and like it, and maybe look on your page, and maybe like the mood board you're creating, you know, and kind of so on and so forth. And it's definitely good to do that for a few months at least, to kind of build some kind of small audience for when you actually start posting your own content. And towards the end, you can kind of post more information about your upcoming zine and build hype about that, and kind of, I guess, tell people that you're not just a mood board. When I stopped my mood board and kind of started posting sick love content, I actually lost a few followers because I think lots of people just thought it was an aesthetic page, which it wasn't, but I definitely, you know, gained a lot more than I lost. So I would definitely say it was worthwhile. And yeah, I mean, once you start posting content, then I just say promote yourself. So promote via social media channels. If you're at university, promote via university groups in your university notice boards. If you're not, you might be members of Facebook groups or some kind of, you know, like any kind of social media groups or kind of rogue groups you might be a member of from a really long time ago. You know, like I'm a member of some Facebook groups, believe it or not. You know, I don't even have the app downloaded, but occasionally I will, just to tell them what I'm doing and hope that some people might enjoy the content. You need to shamelessly plug yourself and plug your content, because I think that obviously your immediate circle will know, and that's great, but your immediate circle might not be your target audience. So you really need to make sure that you are kind of reaching the people that might be interested in your content through the kind of, you know, through link ups, like, you know, that they study a similar thing as you, or they like the same Facebook group as you because they've got similar interests and similar interest to the content you're posting. So that's important too. So it's really important. This is another before step. This is all kind of at the beginning. You need to solidify your ethos. So obviously, if you want people to follow you and become part of your community, you need to know why they should be. If you want someone to read your content, return to your content, like your content, and kind of stick with you as a page and a brand, then you need to know why they're going to do that. Because if you're just kind of, you know, if you don't have a strong ethos or beliefs or message or image, you know, if you don't have a strong something, then it's wishy-washy, and people are less likely to stick around for wishy-washy. I think you need to be strong with at least one point, if not a few. If you can nail a few, if you can have a strong aesthetic, a strong moral message, you know, like, then great. But at least nail one, because people will need one reason to kind of stick around, and you need to provide them that. As I said at the bottom, your audience will be looking for specific content or services from your platform. And it takes time to figure out what it is that they want. And it can be as niche as you want, you know, because this is your baby and your project. So make it whatever you want and as niche as you want, but you need to work out what that is. Because as I said, if you're flitting around with, you know, content and you don't have a clear direction, it's hard to build a community, and it's hard to make people stick. And, you know, and it's hard for you to stick. It's hard to kind of create this flitty, you know, all over the place image. And you're obviously allowed to rebound, you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to do whatever you want, really. But I think people can tell when you're unsure of yourself, and people are more likely to continually enjoy your content and continually enjoy what you're offering everyone, when you have kind of a strong ethos in mind. So, you know, what you stand for, what makes you stand out as well. There are so many publications, it's very hard to be the first of something. I mean, I'm definitely not the first person to run a publication like Sick Love. There are hundreds out there. So it's not necessarily about being the first, but what makes you slightly different from all the other similar publications. You need to stand out, and you need to, you know, you need to really set yourself apart. And that can be from a lot of different ways. You know, you can do that in a lot of different means, but it is important to think about what you stand for and why this is important and why this stands out. Along with building an ethos, it's really important to build an aesthetic and a target audience. So once you build an ethos and an aesthetic, the target audience basically comes along really easily. You know, you've got to think, who's going to like my aesthetic? Who's going to like my ethos? And that's your target audience. You know, so if you think, okay, so who's going to like, well, for example, with Sick Love, who's going to like you know, it's aimed at young creative people. So who's going to like a page with lots of young creatives work on talking about socially conscious issues, mainly that affect people within the creative industries? The answer is kind of 16 to 25-year-old creatives. Pretty simple, pretty easy target audience to work out. It's got quite a femme aesthetic. So people that like femme aesthetics, that doesn't, you know, that, to be honest, that is not a narrow category in itself, but you have to recognize the aesthetic and then look into that in more detail and think who that might be. But that, as I said, is not a narrow category of people that like pink, you know, obviously. But you've got to think femme aesthetics, 16 to 25 creatives. That's your target audience. And obviously that was a target audience just kind of, you know, off the top of my head. The more you go into it, the more you can actually narrow down who it is. Especially if like you build your website on Wix or something, and then you have statistics and you can see where people are in the world, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get more statistics on your audience. And that's really interesting to know and important, I guess, when looking at your content and making content, because you're making content for those people. So you need to keep them in mind, and keep who they are in mind as well. So yeah, this is, and the kind of ethos, aesthetic, and target audience. It's basic brand development. Everyone needs to do it. It may seem kind of simple, but it actually takes a while to kind of map out in like detail. And it's really basic brand development. You need all of this before you start, and you need all of this to continue to do well, and you need all of this to build a brand in itself. Because without this, as I said, it's wishy-washy. And yeah, as an aesthetic can help you build an audience, stand out, and solidify your brand image. Your aesthetic can really bring together your whole page, your whole zine. Building an aesthetic, obviously, as I said, your content's more important, your ethos is more important, like, you know, your social critique is more important. But with an aesthetic, you can really bring that all together and make a neat little package out of it. A neat little package which is sellable, and everyone's like, ooh, it's pink or whatever, you know, and and it looks neat, and it just makes it look a bit more professional and, you know, a bit more thought out. And everyone loves visuals, everyone loves aesthetics. It kind of catches you like that, whereas an article takes 5 minutes to read. So it's important to try and nail those, or try and at least go in a certain direction with them from the beginning. Okay, and the big question: what is your purpose? So why have you started your zine? This is really important to keep people engaged. You need to be strong on the ethos. It's one thing having an ethos, and it's one thing kind of, you know, saying, oh, this is what I do. But like, why is that important to you? Why do you stand by this ethos so much? And why are you going to put all this time in running a publication? As I said, it's important to keep people engaged so they know you're interested. And it's important to keep yourself engaged. Like, you know, you have to put in a lot of hours running an independent publication for about £0 an hour, probably minus money an hour. So you have to really like what you're doing, and you have to really care about it. So make sure it is something that you are really, really passionate about, really care about, really interested in. Otherwise, it's probably not going to stick. As I said, it can be as niche as possible, but you have to be passionate about it, because you're not going to bend over backwards for something that you're only 50-50 on, and you can't expect other people to bend over backwards to kind of support your content if you're 50-50 on it. You know, you've got to be into it, and that will get other people into it. So what do you hope to achieve by starting your zine? This is another thing. You've got to kind of think, obviously you can't think end goal, you don't know when the end's going to be, but what is your kind of hope for the next 6 months, the next year, the imminent future? What are you trying to achieve in the imminent future? And update that, like, as 6 months comes around, update it for the next 6 months, and set yourself goals and set yourself achievements which you want to work on, and which you want to kind of, you know, achievements that you want to reach, for you to think the zine is successful, and for you to head in the right direction to kind of achieve your long goals, which kind of fit in with your ethos, you know. And it's good to check up on yourself, and it's good to check you're going in the right direction and carry on pushing yourself. That's also a big thing for growth. Obviously, look after yourself. When I say push yourself, I mean push. Oh, turn the light off. As in, like, when I say push yourself, I mean push your zine, push your creativity, push your ideas, push your innovation. Don't push yourself to not sleep and, you know, feel shit, because you should be doing this because you love it. And you should be treating yourself nice as well, because hopefully you love yourself as well. But I mean, push yourself in a way of your creativity and what you believe, you know, you are capable of, because you're capable of a lot more. You're capable of anything, even flying, promise. And also, what can you offer your community? If you want people to stay around, you need to be able to, you know, and you want to help these people for whatever reason. You know, as I said, every publication has their own kind of ethos and whatever, but you want, you know, you're creating content for these people, your target audience. What are you hoping to give them? You know, are you hoping to give them a platform to show their work? That's what I hope, you know, a kind of place to express feelings, feelings and kind of issues with their own industries and their despairs in their own industries, and kind of like actually voice those publicly and have them like platformed, as well as, you know, and in a hope of maybe creating some kind of change along the way, or at least making people more comfortable with the conversations. That's my hope, as well as platforming work. But what's yours? You need to know, and that all ties into the kind of what is your purpose as a publication. Okay, so now you've got your publication, it's all gone great, you set it all up. Now you need to grow. You know, you've got that initial base audience, you've got your morals down, you've got everything down, you're ready to kind of start and grow more. And these are things that I found have helped me grow more. Everyone is different, every publication is different, and everyone has a very different journey. But this, for me, when I was there and I'd done all of the stuff I've already talked about, and I was kind of twiddling my thumbs, thinking, right, I've got this, I want more, I want to expand Sick Love, I want to do more, I want to be more, I want to be better for people. What do I do? And this is what I came up with. So as I said, I am not the verbatim, you know, 50K plus influencer of the year, but these are things that help me grow my audience and help me move the publication in the kind of direction I wanted to do. So number one, using multimedia. So multimedia, for me, I think is really important. I think it's a great way to build a receptive audience and engage the most people. I think that zines aren't for everyone, articles aren't for everyone. You know, for example, my partner is dyslexic, and people, for example, people might not like to read, and, you know, like people might not want to read as much, and a 5-minute, 10-minute article might not be their way to get the most out of media, out of information, and they might want media that's more accessible to them for whatever reason. That's only one example. I'm just using it because my partner tries to read my website a lot, and tries, and it's not normally what, you know, we do, but he tries very hard. But, you know, for example, someone like him might want to, you know, watch something or use some kind of other media to induce the same information that I like to read in a 10-minute article. So you've got to get the most people to kind of make sure that everyone is engaged and lots of people are getting the content that they are happy to engage in. If they've got 10 minutes on the tube or whatever, you can use lots of multimedia. So people like prefer videos, podcasts, which, for example, I can't listen to. They go one in ear, one out the other. But people love podcasts. As I said, they like videos, Instagram takeovers even. You know, there's so much you can do. Even just a little thing like that. Workshops like we're doing right now, right? There are so many ways to kind of engage a wider audience outside of your print and paper or your digital publication. And I think if you want to spread your message and you want to get your ethos across and engage a wide audience, providing people with a spectrum of, you know, opportunity to engage with your content can really, really help. So physical products as well. So I've kind of mentioned like talks and podcasts and stuff, but people love like, you know, in real life events. I know we're in the Corona zone at the moment, so not much happening, but I love real life events, launches, you know, like zine fairs, stuff like that. Incredible. And I think it can really help build a community feel. And I cannot wait until, you know, this kind of becomes a little bit less, and I can have like a sick love launch event with DJs and drinks and music, and it's fun, and everyone gets to meet each other, and like you all know, as I said, it's you meet real like people in real life, people with similar interests, and it just really unites people as a community. And now obviously that kind of thing can't really happen, but physical products like merchandise help as well. Not cheesy merch, but like bringing people products, like little trinkety products also is really nice, but make them cute. Don't make them the ugly t-shirts, make them the nice t-shirts. We're doing tote bags at the moment, which are so cute, and I'm going to put them up tomorrow so people can buy, but they're black totes with dribbly hearts printed all over them. So in my opinion, that's cute merch. I don't know if you agree, but people like physical products as well, and it once again brings a more community feel, because it's like it links that kind of online presence that like physical zines, physical merch, real life events, links that kind of website you read, or links that podcast you listen to, or links that video you watch on YouTube to something you can have for yourself. I think that's also really important. As I said, with lockdown, my last point, with lockdown, everything's become digitalized, which is annoying for me because I love real life events, but I think online events are great too, and I think this opens up a lot more and a lot of a different kind of perspective than lots of people are thinking of. But be inventive and use the situation. If you have a situation which might get in the way of, like, I had a launch party planned for Sick Love, which was so sad, which got cancelled, which was going to be in Hackney in London in a all pink bar in Stoke Newington. Amazing. Got cancelled because of Corona, which was very sad. And I was very sad about it. But you can't let that kind of thing get you down. You've got to plan digital events. You've got to plan stuff online. You've got to, you can't get stuck in one way. You've got to be a bit fluid if you're going to catch people's attention, I think, at least. So also, collaboration is important. I think collaboration is probably the most important. My platform is obviously a lot about collaboration and thrives off collaboration, as in the sense that we are platforming people's work and collaborating with them in a way, on whatever it may be. But also, I love to collaborate outside of the kind of content we produce. I love to collaborate with other brands. As I said, there are going to be thousands of zines and companies that share similar ethos or aesthetic to you, or both. It's like so many. As I said, there's even a bar in Hackney, which is baby pink. Incredible. Use this to your advantage. They'll be as interested in you as you are in them, because you have you're obviously similar people that run it, similar ideas, similar goals, hopefully. So just reach out, try something. Never be afraid to reach out. I reach out to so many people. If I see something online, I think it's cool, I'll message them with an idea. If I see an account online, whether that be a zine, a person, I'm like, brilliant, let me message them, because they're cool and you want to talk to them. So why not? You want to do a project with them. So think of a cool project you can work on together. That not only like opens up your mind, because you're having to think about project after project, you're kind of like, oh, I want to work with so-and-so, what can we do? And you think of a great new project. It helps you meet like-minded people. And they can come up with great project ideas as well. People reach out and they're like, hi, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's something you never would have thought of. And you're like, brilliant, I so want to do that. And then you do it. And so I think that collaboration can lead to growth like this, and can lead to growth as a brand, as in like it can lead to your kind of reach, because whoever you collaborate with is going to share the project and spread awareness of your brand to their platform. But at the same time, it can also just solidify what you have as a brand. It can provide your current audience with fun and exciting new projects and really great content, which you might not be able to do on your own. And that applies to brands, but like other companies, but it also applies, as I said, to working with people. Like I work with incredible people on so much. For example, lots of the written content of the website is mine, but most of it isn't. Amazing people write. Every article has a personalized illustration made by lots of different illustrators. I mean, our regular illustrator is Beth. Beth Nicole, who is great, and does, you know, kind of all the graphics for any kind of event like this, and all the kind of illustrations on the site and stuff. And I didn't, you know, I hadn't met Beth. I actually have never met Beth. She lives in Birmingham. I'd love to meet her, but you know, we communicate over email, and I messaged her because she made really cute pink illustrations, and I told her about what I was doing and, you know, how I wanted to get her on board, and I did. And you know, that now, however long down the line, she made the poster for the event today, she made the poster for every event, and she's probably the most, you know, she's such a big part of the Sick Love team and the Sick Love image. I mean, if she was to disappear tomorrow, my image would crumble, you know, and that, you know, and that's so important. You meet people. I can't draw like Beth, and you help, you know, you collaborate with people and make something great and something much better than you might be able to produce on your own. So I think, don't be scared to collaborate. Don't be scared to open yourself up and open yourself up to new ideas, because I think that it will always produce the best product, as well as reaching a wider audience at the same time. So 10 out of 10 on collaboration. And I mean, this is my kind of conclusion-y bit. I'm not done just yet. I mean, that's kind of my main points. This is all obviously for like early on Zine expansion and growth. I mean, Sick Love is still a very new company. We're still early on, and we're still working on our own growth and our own expansion and coming up with new projects and, you know, stuff like that. And I think these are the kind of beginning tools to expand as a brand and to create your own brand. As I said, like a lot of the work on like target audience, ethos, like aesthetic is all so base and so primary, but so important when building yourself a platform, because without them, well, you just don't have a platform without them. And it is so important to work on these kind of basic levels, to make sure that you build something that you're happy with and that people are happy to support along the way. And as I said, we're still very much a growing company. I have lots of projects in the works and lots of expansion in the works, and, you know, people will be working with big companies, small companies, etc., etc. But I think, as I said, my main advice is collaborate, use multimedia, and don't be afraid to reach out. I didn't actually make a slide on that, but I'm going to say it now. Reach out, write to magazines, other magazines even, about what you're doing. You know, like, I think especially when you're a small publication, there's so much kind of fear around reaching out. You're like, oh, I'm only small, you know, I don't want to write to this person. What if they don't reply? What if they don't like it? You know, what if it's embarrassing? But they're either going to like it, because it doesn't matter if you've got 1 follower or 10,000 followers. If someone's doing something cool, most publications, especially independent publications, you know, independent publications that are usually run by a very small team, if not one person, doing something because they love it, not for profit, they won't care about your size if they think you're cool. If you're doing something worthwhile, you have a great ethos, you've got a great, you know, kind of aesthetic and message behind your page, then people aren't going to turn you down if that's what they really care about as well. So I think, don't be afraid to reach out to people for whatever reason, whether that's telling them about what you do, you know, just writing them an email with some information, hoping they might platform it, whether that's reaching out for collaboration, whether that's brainstorming ideas. Also, don't be afraid of your own ideas. Make them happen and they'll be great. Don't ever limit yourself. I think I even do it a lot. You know, I'm always like, oh, I'm not sure if we're ready for that yet. I'm not sure if, you know, we're big enough for that. I'm not sure if whatever. I even did it about starting a zine. I was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm ready to start one yet. And it was probably one of the best decisions I made. And I think I was ready. I hope I was ready. I'm obviously still learning and growing, but I hope I was ready. And I, you know, for a long time, I kidded myself that I wasn't. So I think to be able to grow, you need to be fearless and inventive and into your passionate. But I also think there's a, you know, that's kind of from you, but it's also about looking after your audience and caring about them, which I think comes with passion as well. I think once you're passionate about what you're doing, you're passionate about other people who care about what you're doing as well and helping with what you're doing. And I think that, you know, as I said, I'm still obviously growing my own platform, but I think the basis of what you need is passion, flexibility, and a few good ideas. Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna come back onto the main screen. One sec, here we go. Ta-da! Hello. Well, hello everyone. I hope you all like that. Does anyone have any questions? I think that's kind of my main PowerPoint. So anyone is welcome to ask me anything about whatever, really, anything at all. So if you have any questions, ask away. Now is the time. No? Okay. I guess, oh, okay. Okay, so I'll read for the question. So um, it says, I was just wondering whether you found that followers were comfortable to come to you with feedback and what they want from your platform, or whether you asked them. I think that basically, I think it's really important to ask people. I think the doing even just like basic questionnaires on your story, just about little things. You know, I don't even put out that many. I should probably do more, but just doing like basic questionnaires on your story page about your content is really useful. Asking people to ask you, like, you know, especially maybe not the question box. I feel people are scared of the question box, but just a yes, no, people will do it and you'll kind of get sense. You can also get sense, as I said, if you've got like a Wix website, you can kind of get a sense from that. You kind of see what articles are popular, what pops up, you know, what people, how many people have seen each post. So, you know, you can get a post with 30 reads and you can get a post with 300 reads, and then you kind of know what people are sharing, what people are liking. So I think people do sometimes come with me for feedback, but you have to ask most of the time, because I think people, you know, don't feel that comfortable just messaging someone out of the blue. We do get some really nice messages, which is lovely. Like, people will message you very nice things. You know, if someone loves you and loves the content and thinks you're fucking sick, then they're going to message you. But that's not, you know, say you've got 100 followers and one of them messages you saying it's the best thing they've ever read, that's 1% of your following. So I think the best way to reach people is to actually reach out to people, because people are more likely to click yes, no on a story than write you a long poetic message about how great your publication is, which happens, and it is so nice, and you know, you love those people and those people are the best people. But if you want to get like a kind of image of your demographic, I'd say the best way to do so is to, well, yeah, I think the best way to do so is definitely to kind of to ask on your story, or ask simple questions that people are likely to click on, and you get more of an idea, as well as looking like at actual statistics. The second question is, do you think followers and content are more important, at the beginning at least? Content is always the most important, always, 100%. As I said at the beginning of my talk, like, it's definitely great to have as wide an audience as you can when you start. Like, hopefully, you know, as I said, you do a mood board or whatever page you do, you know, you get, as I said, lots of people do it differently, but you know, you build some kind of initial audience and you hope that that's as big as it could be. But even if you still only got 2 people, you shouldn't stop posting your content. You shouldn't stop doing your thing just because of followers, because I think, well, yeah, because followers are, like, it's great to have an audience, but at the end of the day, it's followers, and you know, your message and your ethos hopefully is much bigger than that. Like, I don't really believe, I'm not a clouty person, like followers, you know, like I don't believe in that culture at all. Like, you know, and not that I'm saying that's what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I think that it's great to have some kind of audience, because if you want to get your message across, you need people to be able to read your stuff. But don't stop your message just because people aren't reading it, because, you know, even if 2 people read it and you change their mind or you really inspire them, that's still 2 people you've inspired. So it's great to grow, but never compromise your content, and never kind of, you know, put growth in front of content, because also when you have great content, growth will come because people will like it. So they kind of work hand in hand, but content should always take priority. And then I've got a little question here. Who's that? how long ago did you start the great talk? Oh, thanks, Matilda. I didn't start the zine that long ago. I mean, I started the mood board a year and a half ago, I'm gonna say, so not long at all. And the zine, like actually posting regularly and kind of, because yeah, that was a mood board, and I started, you know, like as I said, it was very like pink aesthetic, kind of, you know, built that for a while. So I'd say the zine is like just shy of 10 months, I'd say, so quite young. As I said, I'm still very like, it's still a very young publication, and I still have so much to work on and so much to kind of grow from it. But I'm hoping that from it, I'm kind of building it as a brand, and I'm kind of had all this work, you know, when I made the, you know, as I said at the beginning with like ethos and target audience stuff, I had this all set out from the beginning, and I'm kind of just working through the plan with it at the moment, to kind of keep it going. And then one more. So if you'd done one thing differently when you launched your zine, what would it have been? Oh, good question. I think I would have been less scared at the beginning. As I just said at the end of my talk, I was all like, oh, I don't think I'm ready to launch a zine. And I think up until very recently, I felt very unworthy of all the things I was doing. I didn't want to do things because I was like, oh, you know, I don't know enough, or I haven't been doing it for long enough, or, oh, what if I get it wrong? But, you know, everyone learns on the job. I think it's very much fake it till you make it. And no one is this all-wise Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada, you know, Anna Wintour, Vogue running bitch for, you know, the first 30 years of being in the industry. It just doesn't exist. And I think that feeling self-conscious and feeling not worthwhile really held me back in a lot of projects. And I think I'm only just now starting to expand into the kind of thing I wanted to be doing all along, but was just too scared to do. So I think if I was to launch the zine today, I'd go at it with a lot more force. I'd be contacting a lot more people. I mean, I didn't even, you know, I was all like, share it on social media. When I launched my zine, I didn't even put it on my Instagram because I was scared, because I was like, oh no, what if people don't think I'm good enough? You know, and it's silly really, because what does a random person on Instagram know? It's just my insecurity that got in the way. And as I said, now I feel I'm more working on projects that I want to work on. I'm contacting people I want to work with. I'm like thinking of ideas which I used to think were too big for me, and I'm doing them and I'm working on them. And hopefully, I mean, as I said, I'm working on them. So hopefully you guys will see them in the next few months. But I'm really pushing myself and really thinking that I'm good enough. And if I could launch my zine again today, I'd go in it with the attitude that I am good enough and that you are good enough to do well. And as I said, we once again, sadly, in our modern society, base a lot of doing well off things like followers, or off things like, you know, like, yeah, things like followers, silly, you know, like things that just float around in the air. And it's not true. And if you are create content, as I said, like, it is great to have an audience, but it's even better to be creating amazing content for the audience you have, however big or small, spreading your message and kind of doing your own thing. So I think if I was to launch again, yeah, I'd kind of put that first. So I don't know if anyone else has any more questions. If not, do not worry. I hope you guys liked that. That was kind of my talk. I think it was a bit shorter than everyone else's, but as I said, I'm open to questions if you think I missed something out, or if you want to see the PowerPoint or have any advice. Everyone can always email me or DM me on Instagram. As I said, I try my best to get back to people vaguely soon. So yeah, if no one has any other questions or anything like that, I guess I will let you guys go. And the second half of the talks is being announced in 2 days. And I'm not going to give everything away, but they're both really interesting, especially the first one. As I said to people that came a bit early, it's a panel of 4 different zines having a discussion. And I'm not going to tell you the discussion point. Watch out, for a Saturday. But keep your eyes peeled, because tickets will once again be free. And I think that the second half could really, really be super interesting. So I hope my talk was good today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And goodbye. Thanks for watching.